So I'm here to answer some questions again. Let's start with some audience questions. Just talking about puppets and writing and shit like that. All right. Okay, we'll start with a real simple one. And by real simple, I mean not simple at all. Okay. Julie Duffy asks, "Hi Lee, could you break down for us that oft used writing advice, show, don't tell? It's easy to say, easy for you, but can be hard to get grips with without examples." All right. So the first thing to understand is that show, don't tell comes from theater or film, really. And what it used to refer to with that was the use of a narrator when instead you could just have the action on stage show it, or a title card. Sometimes people would use title cards to say things like Paris when there's an Eiffel Tower in the background. Like, I can see that. So that's what show, don't tell originally meant. In fact, in my world, we often say it's called a puppet show, not a puppet tell. You, on the other hand, that's all of you out there listening right now, are storytellers. You actually tell things. So, the idea behind show, don't tell is that sometimes you want to unpack things. I think of it more that way rather than being strictly about, showing versus telling. It's all writing, it's all telling. Okay, I may have some feels. Point being, when someone says show, don't tell, what they really mean is that you should unpack that emotional beat. So the thing with telling is that we use it to compress a moment, to move past it quickly. When you're telling, that's just using a little bit more narration. It's not unpacking the scene quite as much. It's not letting it play out, as it were. So I think of it more as unpacking versus compressing. You want to unpack the important stuff and compress the boring stuff, or the stuff that's not emotional. Like, if there's not a real reason for your reader to spend time in that scene, tell it. But if you're trying to convey something deep and emotional and you want your reader to connect, then unpack it. Take a little more time to show it. That's what it means. You also wanted an example, right? Here's an example of that. Telling. Lee stood in a room with a postcard on a wall. Okay, that's telling. Now, in my world, the way I would do that would be more like, let's say Lee walked into a room with a postcard on the wall. So here we go. To walk out. Okay, we walk in. There's my dog. Oh, there is a postcard on the wall. That's very telly, right? There's a postcard on the wall. On the other hand, if I come in and I go, oh, wow, someone's been to the moon. They left a postcard. Must have liked it a lot because they stuck it on the wall. So you see, that takes longer, but it's also a little bit more engaging. It tells you a little bit more about the character rather than there's a postcard on the wall. Ugh. All right, so that's showing and telling. Let's do a puppet question. All right. Rivka G asks, where does Lee fall on the blue versus green debate? Is it really harder to be green? Nah, not really. I mean, Oscar is green, and that's kind of rough. And Kermit is also green, and he lives in a swamp and eats flies. But I'm blue. I mostly live in a box, sometimes a bag. But I get to come out and talk about writing. Kermit gets to sing songs. I don't get to sing songs. Cookie Monster's blue. He gets to eat cookies. Grover is blue. Also gets to, live in a building. I think he does. I mean, he certainly holds down a job. Kinda. Sometimes. He understands near and far. Which I'm pretty sure Kermit does too. Anyway, point being, it's not really easy one way or another. They're all disadvantages and advantages. The one thing that I'll say as a blue monster is that I do get tired of being mistaken for other blue monsters. We are not all the same. And the green ones, like Kermit, he does make more money. So I'm not sure that being green is actually harder than being blue. So anyway, thanks for your questions. I'll see you all later. Oh, hi. So welcome to another episode of... Oh, my body's totally uncrooked. Okay, that's gonna bother me. This is why one has a valet. All right, try that again.